Welcome to the Rye-Town Park Commission meeting of January 19th, 2016. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, I'd like to introduce our new secretary, my new confidential secretary and chief of staff, and secretary to the Rye-Town Park Commission, Debbie Reisner. Many of you know her. And I thank Bishop for continuing on and is making the transition very, very easy for all of us. Before we go on, I'd like us to rise again for one moment in a moment of silence in memory of Sam Terenzi, our longtime park and town accountant and a trustee in the village of Portchester. Thank you. Roll call, please. Present.
Joseph Sack.
Here.
Dennis Pilla. Not here. Paul Rosenberg.
Here.
Benedict Selenitro.
Here.
Julie Killian. Here.
Thank you. Has everybody read the December 15th, 2015 minutes?
Yep.
If so, may I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Comments from the public? Does anybody wish to speak?
Where's Goldie?
Yes, ma'am. And since I'm new here, I should have said that. Yes, this is my first meeting. Please state your name and
I will.
affiliation.
My name is Linda Wells. I'm with Friends of Rye-Town Park. First of all, welcome to the new commissioners. Our group looks forward to working with you again this year, and we're very anxious to know what's in store from your side of the table, and so we can plan accordingly with some projects we'd like to execute in the park. One of the things I wanted to ask, but maybe it's not the right point, because I was unable to attend the last meeting, was, is there a green light on the sewer project for this spring?
Yeah, I just spoke, Mayor. I spoke with the consultant that is engaged with the county. The bids are due back tomorrow. They anticipate that the county will award that project mid-February. They're anticipating an immediate start, regardless of what the weather may bring, unless it's something really crazy.
Right.
And they're going to start both ends against the middle, if you will, and do the park portion first.
Right.
So we get a better idea as the approval process and the contract award gets done, but it's the expectation is that they're going to start, let's say, mid-March and work their way through. So by the time the season's in full swing, they should be out of there.
Okay. I know Mr. Grecian, I believe it was, who was at the meeting
Correct.
before last, was talking about the, excuse me, the fact that one, if not maybe both of the benches that are up in that end, the north end of the park, would have to be temporarily relocated, removed for that project. I think he mentioned one, but I'm wondering if maybe both is a better idea. So
No.
if there's anything that we can do to,
What we're going to do is we're going to have
I
a
guess.
list of contact information so that they're going to supervise the work. So his firm will communicate with both the town of Rye, the Park Commission, Friends of the Park, whoever else needs to be communicated. So we'll have a fact sheet that we'll give to the consultant so that everybody that needs to be notified either by email or any other means will be notified. So there'll be a progress report as well. So
terrific.
that's what we'll look to do.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
The new
Linda.
year's too new to have much else at this point.
Thank you. Anybody else? Park management report. Mr. Joffrey.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, As you all know, the park is closed, so the employees are down to a minimum. We do have John Zicka there to empty the garbage and do a few other odds and ends. The overview basically is that it's continued to be warm, generally dry weather, so we're getting a lot of people walking in the park still. As far as maintenance goes, John Zicka is carrying out the regular cleanup operations. Bill Lawyer contacted the Pond Lake Management Company that helps us with the pond to keep the algae out of the pond for most of the summer as best we could, and to get started for the DEC application. As far as parking, security, and safety, we had a spray paint vandalism, which Mr. Zicka removed on the same day. Bill Lawyer spoke with the Rye PD and regarding the patrols in the park. As per the Rye Town Park Commission vote of December meeting to prohibit smoking in the park except for the paved parking area, we started work determining where smoking areas with cigarette butt receptacles could be located. Excuse me, I have a little cold. The new policy will be publicized in the coming months along with our new signs. Mr. Lawyer contacted the Rye City Clerk's office regarding the leash law, and we learned that for 2016 there will be a $25 yearly permit to have dogs off leash from 6 to 9. According to the deputy clerk, nearly 400 people signed up for, and that's a substantial number. In 2015, as of January 12th, the website had not been updated. Beach operations, lots of people walking on the beach, enjoying the sunny days. Finances, with the illness and passing of Sam Terenzi, Bishop is working to get an up-to-date, unaudited report for the fiscal year. As per direction from Rye Town Park Commission, Bishop submitted a bill to the City of Rye for its share of the operations. Programs, permits, and fees. Mr. Lawyer followed up with the proposed stand-up and paddle for the cure benefit that had been presented at the Park Commission meeting. Her proposed date is Saturday, September 10th. She's hoping to attract 500 participants. Debbie and Bill met at the park to discuss the logistics and the scale time. We later determined that the tide would be too low on September 10th to carry out the event as planned. She's looking for another location. I understand that there's a need there for the tide to be a certain level.
Excuse me, Fred, when she says she's looking for another location, does that mean she's looking for another location other than our beach?
Yeah.
What about a different date? That date is a locked-in date?
Is that a,
She said to me that they have to do it on that date, because I said, why not just hold it in the morning?
Yeah.
When the tide is high. But they can't do that. It's part of a national event. But we're trying to work with her to do
Okay.
a demonstration program at the park, so that we still get participation in the overall project.
So if I may, so I think what I'm hearing is we're offering her and her organization other dates that might work, but for some reason they're set on that date for their own scheduling purposes. So hopefully, if their circumstances change, we can work something out. But it's not happening because of us. It's not happening because of the
Correct.
tides and because of their preference for that day.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's more than their preference. My recollection, this may be a whole national
It's a national.
organization where they're doing this event in other locations simultaneously. Like, like other organizations do the walks and things like that, where it's a national thing, so they have to have that date.
But will you keep
Anyway,
us up to date on if they are going to do some kind of demonstration? Because I did it once with her. It's a really terrific thing. I think it'd be great to bring more people to the park and get them to see it at least.
If they are gonna be doing it somewhere nearby, somewhere where the tide isn't an issue, then we can actually help promote it by doing some kind of thing at the park.
This is, Mr. Lawyer and Mr. Nowotnik both worked on the Mac Angels to use the beach for annual New Year's Day polar plunge. The Mac Angels Foundation is dedicated to supporting families with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. About 80 people participated. Mr. Lawyer started work with Jane Riley, Dr. Jane Riley of Rye on the facility use agreement with the Angel Man Syndrome Foundation walk scheduled for Sunday, May 22nd. As far as park development, Mr. Lawyer updated and sent out flyers to the Rye City, Portchester, Rybrook Chambers of Commerce about sponsorship opportunities for the Rye Town Park Twilight Tuesdays concerts, outdoor movie, and Shakespeare in the Park production. And that's about it.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Joffrey.
Okay, you're welcome.
Financial report. We have a preliminary budget for 2016. Debbie Bishop, would one of you like to talk about that? Okay.
Yeah, there hasn't been very much change to the plan there. If you look at the shaded column, that is our projected actual. We're still holding firm to these projections. Again, I want to remind the commissioners, this is based on the last financial report that we were able to receive, which was dated October 31st. So this has 2 months' worth of projected operating expenses. Most of our income is pretty solid. So that's what we use as our year-end financial at this particular point. If you want to segue to the budget discussion, what we did was, because 2015 was such an unusual year for us, we pretty much ignored the numbers for 2015, and we calculated averages for 2012, 2013, 2014, the 3 prior years, which you'll see in the last column on the page. And we used that average to, in effect, put together our budget, then modifying whatever we needed to do for the current.
I was trying to figure out where you were coming up with, for example, a net decrease in the proposed revenue for 2016, especially since it's down from even our proposed 2015. I couldn't, now it makes sense.
Right. Well, again, we had a perfect season. We had excellent weather for the 3 major holidays. We were, I think, only closed a few times for weather purposes. So, and we also had the 7 extra business days because of the calendar anomaly. We just felt that 2015 was the wrong benchmark to use, and that the 3 prior years were much more reflective of what our actual business would probably be for 2016.
Can I ask, Bishop, the capital expenditures, are any of those, there's a memo that Mr. Joffrey submitted on September 10th with 8 recommendations. Now, I'm not sure that, where we're going with all of those, but are those recommendations included in the proposed budget, or are they not included? Is that how is that figure compiled?
We put in a $90,000 number, looking at it in terms of the history of the commission and the communities involved have been to try and control capital expenditures. to some degree. That can flex and that can be adjusted. So to answer your question, we really don't have a very solid number because number 7, the ADA compliant ramp for the middle beach gate, is still an elusive number for us. And that's the major expense item there,
Which was previously authorized.
which was previously authorized and unspent.
Correct. So did that slide over in unanticipated expenses, or is that anticipated from a prior approval? Is it a carryover?
No,
As
it's
a
not a
capital?
carryover. I mean, it was never accounted for. If you remember, we're kind of on a cash accounting system with the 2 towns. So at the end of each year, we balance out. The city of Rye will make its contribution to whatever the deficit is. The town of Rye will make its contribution to whatever the deficit is. And we start brand new each year, in effect. What we have done last year was we did establish a capital account. My understanding is there should be, I think there's $20,000 specifically. I don't know what that exact number is, but there was a capital account that was set up for Rytown Park. The thinking and thought process based on last year was the city of Rye had budgeted $50,000 for Rytown Park support, which is not needed because we're forecasting a profit this year. The town of Rye had budgeted $62,000 for Rytown Park support, again, which is not needed because we have a profit this year. And the thought process was that they would contribute those funds to the Rytown Park Commission to put into the capital fund or the operating fund as the commissioners see fit to allocate. To my knowledge, the city of Rye has not yet addressed it or approved it. I know that Mayor Sack was in favor of the concept, as was Supervisor Carvin for the town. Obviously, this is a new year and a new cycle, so those
Mayor
requests...
Sack is still here.
Yes. Well, those requests are still sitting out there. Joe Facino would have the
Invoice.
request.
You
Yeah.
put-
Well,
you put the invoice.
we could discuss that going forward. I mean, nothing has to be done tonight about it. What I was concerned is, this memorandum, outside of the ADA compliant ramp, looks to be about $60,000. And you have $90,000 in the proposed budget. So what is the 90,000 just a guesstimate that includes this? Or would the $90,000 be a number outside of this so that the real number would be $150,000?
You know what, Bishop, it might be easier if you circulate the approved 3-year plan that this commission adopted back in the, I would say maybe the summer months, one of the 2 summer months, June or July. As I recall, we had to select, based upon available funds that were appropriated in the budget, a 3-year plan. And we picked like security cameras, and we picked part of it, lighting, the beach access ramp, a couple of things that were in there. And it was a 3-year plan. And I think we shuffled some numbers so that it would work in the 3-year plan. Do you still remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe we should-
I know that we had a larger capital plan that also included things like repairs to the bathroom building.
No, I'm not getting there. I'm saying what, this commission by resolution authorized expenses, capital expenses on a 3-year plan this past, in calendar year 15. We did that by resolution.
I
Pretty sure.
I know that we did that for the trees. We had a 3-year plan approach for the tree work. I'm not sure if we did that for capital. I think capital was 2 years, where we had an A and a B type priority.
Okay.
Is that the plan that you're remembering?
That's correct.
Right, I think that was
2 or 3, okay.
done
Whatever
on
it
a
is, but we,
2-year.
So why don't we
committed
circulate
to that
that?
already. The
Because
commission committed to
certainly
something.
the new guy doesn't know much about it, so.
Precisely, and that's why what we wanted to do with this was purely to say, here's our fiscal results as best we understand them. Here's a proposed plan for 2016, purely to start the commissioners off. That's why we included the capital, and we also included the 2015 fee schedule. You know, a couple of points that the commissioner should realize is that, you know, we are going to be facing an increase in the minimum wage. We're going to go from $8.75 to $9. That will impact some number of our employees.
Well, we should be able to get a figure based on last year. If, assuming that we have the same number of employees receiving minimum wage, what would be the fiscal impact of that at the present time? You know, based on the same number of employees, obviously. And what impact, if we have employees that are making a little bit over minimum wage, the fact that we're going to increase the minimum wage, wouldn't that impact, create an impact on those employees that will also cause their wages to rise? So we need to get a, some kind of an estimate, and whether you or Mr. Burns can figure those numbers out. That's certainly beyond my ability.
Good point.
All right. And when do we have to pass this budget? This is a budget for 2016. It's already the middle of January. When is this budget usually passed?
Well, the absolute latest for this budget would be March meeting.
Okay.
The rationale for that is that we have to have our permit mailing ready to go early in April for beach permits, and also the fee structure has to be established.
All right, then we have a timeline. We have an outside date. February is better, but March is absolutely necessary.
I totally agree. February is better.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Anything else on the budget? Old business.
You want to look at the fee schedule, Mr. Chairman? Should we look at the fee schedule, if there's anything that's glaring that we could
Well,
contemplate or leave it alone?
well, I think that we need to have comments on the fee schedule, but, you know, I saw the fee schedule, and I didn't see anything glaring, whether anybody wants to suggest an increase in that schedule or not an increase in that schedule. If you want to comment now? Let the commissioners speak first, if you have a comment.
Bishop, this is proposed 2016, right, even though it says 15? This is the 15, this is what was,
The actual 2015
That's the
schedule.
15.
so you don't have a proposal for us for 16?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
The staff has discussed a variety of options. We have not put it into a document.
All right. I think that we need to do that. Okay, we know what the fee schedule is for 2015. If the staff has ideas about how that should be changed, it should be communicated to the commissioners.
Bishop, if I may, is the proposed 2016 budget based on no change in the fee schedule?
Yeah, all we did was we incorporated what we knew to be already approved increases.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Terry, with that, does that satisfy your comments? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.